Supersonics Money Transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonics Money Transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.
Welcome you all once again at the Football House. I'm sure you read the press release, you know why we are here, but despite that, I have to basically give you the reason. But before we go into that, I will request that we all pray in our own ways, silent prayers, before we get into the major scope of the learning. Good afternoon again, President Gambia Football Federation, Mr. Lanching, Director of Communications, Mr. Gff who is the lead focal person for this project, Director of Competitions, Mr. Babukar Job, known as Pasule, another very important person in this particular project. Before I go, I escaped Jay Senamuchan, the chairman of the Women Football Committee and also the president of the Women Football Association. And Jay also oversees the Women Football League, both first and second division. We have Bibi Bakari Balde, communications manager at the GFF, and we also have our security officer, Mr. Alagi Kaji, and of course, our technical man, Omar and crew. Per, our protocol officer, is also in the house, Brahma Suare and Maria Maboya. And journalists almost from all the media houses. Really, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. We are here today to launch yet again another first of this kind project. I named this president first of this kind since I've been appointed in 2018. A lot of first of this kind had happened, whether in the area of training, capacity building, or in the area of administration, or in the area of governance, and now in the area of media in terms of exposing our local league players to the international scene. This is a groundbreaking, as it states on your, it's a groundbreaking broadcasting agreement between the Gambia Football Federation and FIFA. Details of which I will allow the people, especially Babukar, who is the lead, he will be the lead focal person. If you like, call him the project manager, to give us the background of this program. And then the president of the federation would also officially launch it and make a statement. And then after that, we will allow a few questions, which will be moderated by our own BB. And then we will close the program. So that is basically my role here is very limited. I'm your MC, Master of Ceremonies. And then saying that, or that being said, I take this opportunity to welcome Babukar Kamara, the communications director, to make a statement. I must say this here publicly, Babukar has done a lot of work in this. Before we get to this stage, a lot of work has been done at the background, and really I would want to take this opportunity to thank him and challenge him that it is also his role to ensure that this project works. on behalf of the Football Federation. And then, of course, the intended beneficiaries also get some benefit from it in terms of not just monetary, but also the exposure. You know that now we are a small country, but we are not very small in football now, especially in Africa. Just coming from our heroes performance at the just ended AFCON. Inshallah, I am seeing us in the 2023 as well. Inshallah. Mr. Kamara, floor is yours.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen from the press. Good afternoon to the President of the Gambia Football Federation, Mr. Lamin Kababajo. And thank you very much, General Secretary, for those very wonderful and eloquent remarks, as always. Today, we are gathered here to formally announce the signing and the launching of a groundbreaking event in the history of Gambian football. This is groundbreaking in the sense that we have all witnessed the remarkable strides in football development in the Gambia, especially in the past 7 years, culminating with our first ever appearance to the African Cup of Nations. And but then, when it comes to our domestic league also, I think we all agree that the level of interest and competition in the domestic league is at an all-time high. And we are very much aware that there are clubs who engage media houses to broadcast their games for them, sometimes at the expense of these clubs. And when you know sports is a multi-million-dollar industry. In fact, I would call it a multi-billion-dollar industry. The actors of sports are meant to benefit in many, many ways. And key among them is sports broadcasting. That is where the revenue is. So to have an official partner to broadcast our domestic first division male and female leagues at no expense to the clubs, I think this is a welcome development and it's going to contribute immensely towards the development of those clubs. They are not going to pay money, but in return, they are expected to generate revenue. This is very, very, very important. The president will give a statement where he will go more into the details of this agreement that we have just signed, which is going to last until the end of the 2026 season. It is going to start this year until the end of the 2026 season. And like I mentioned earlier, it is for the men and women first division leagues. And from next year, I think we will have all our domestic first division male and female matches on television through what is called IPTV, Internet Protocol Television. Of course, that is the new norm when it comes to sports broadcasting. And the partners, have already identified a local partner in iAfrica, which is going to serve as the host, the local host, and will be sharing the feeds with the partners to distribute it to their various platforms. And the company is 11 Sports. 11 Sports, I mean, for those of you who are following European football, you know that 11 Sports is no small brand in terms of sports broadcasting. I mean, this is a brand that broadcasts the Spanish Primera Liga, the Italian Serie A, the Liga NOS, and even the UEFA Champions League. So you can tell that, I mean, this is no small achievement, and it's no small feat. And for us, and I think there is no word that can describe this. Its importance cannot be overemphasized. there are many benefits other than the revenue that the clubs are supposed to get. Because this is also going to expose these clubs to a global audience where our players will be watched by millions of viewers across the globe. And this can only be positive. Where those players who are exposed outside there are people, scouts, clubs, agents who will be watching them, who may not have the opportunity to come to Gambia and watch these players. Then there'll be no struggle of having to film a player's highlights and send to these agents. They'll be watching them. And then this can only lead to more professional contracts, and that can only contribute to the socio-economic development of the Gambia. I mean, those Gambians who are playing outside, their contribution to the economic development of this country cannot be overemphasized. We all know that. And at the same time, those players who are even playing in the domestic league, then they can become celebrity figures because they'll be on television week in, week out. They'll become celebrity figures, and then they can even get local endorsements to advertise for brands. That is also an added income for them. But equally, the clubs also can benefit, and part of that benefit can be plowed back into the overall growth of the game through development of facilities. Players getting properly rewarded for the game, the profession that they have decided to venture into. So, of course, there will be a question and answer session, and if any clarification is needed, we will be here. But for now, this is what I have to say. MC, it's back to you, and thank you.
At least dissecting and then trying to expatiate on the elements, the issues, or the areas that may interest you, the benefits in it. I'm sure the president's statement would go more in detail to explain. And if you are not still satisfied, or you still have questions, you will have the opportunity. Now I will have the singular honor to call on the president. But before I do that, I really need to say this. I think definitely our football is growing, and then these things are deliberate actions. Things don't fall from the sky. And then success is, Sandong, you normally tell me this. He said success does not come through the lift. You have to go through the stairs, through the steps. And I can tell you all the achievements that we have been registering, these were deliberate actions, which means hard work has been put into these things for us to achieve. And really, we have to thank the president and his team for really lifting our football. I always say this everywhere, and I will continue to say it. Even qualifying for AFCON alone was something. And going to AFCON and getting to the quarterfinals really is historic. We should celebrate our football. Some of us can tell you a little bit history. We've been there in and out and what we used to obtain. That's why this project, for me, I'm so passionate about it, because now here is a situation like Babukar emphasized, where local players will be watched internationally. And I don't know whether you care to find out how many. I'll challenge you for you to go and do your research and know how many Gambian international players are playing in professional leagues abroad. That's a challenge. But I can tell you that it's quite a number, it's in the hundreds. So which means if we are exporting players from our league, we don't have to ask anybody. That means our factory is good, because they are not going to buy into players that are not good products. So we should also promote our league. We should also try to sell. Babukar touched on one thing which is very important, that football is now a business. It's more than a pleasure, and then it brings a lot of foreign exchange in this country. There are people who have more hopes in football than in the government right now. They think they have chances of making it, being a player, than maybe having a job to work here. So you are key, journalists. You are very key in this, sport journalists, to promote our league so that it becomes attractive to the outsiders, and so that our brothers and our sisters can get into that. Mr. President, all of these good things happen under your watch. And then congratulations. This is another groundbreaking, I'm always happy, to to chair ceremonies where this is the first of this kind and so forth. So thank you, Mr. President, and keep it up. Huh? The floor is yours.
Secretary and the Master of Ceremonies, my colleague Senabu Jam, Jay, ESCO member, the General Secretary and staff, directors, and other staff of GFF present here, our dear sister, Aret, member of GFF Women's Football Committee, Association Committee, distinguished members of the press, good afternoon. First of all, let me welcome you once again to your house, the football house, where we all belong. And also thank you very much for answering to our call at such a short notice and in your good numbers. But when I opened the door and I saw the number of mics and recorders and cameras, I said, wow, we can only say thank you to all of you. Because whether you are here or not, in the next couple of hours or if not minutes, any of you can capture what's the proceedings in this hall at no cost. But taking the trouble of trekking to Football House and then cover this occasion really is commendable and very appreciative. Whilst I welcome you, thank you once again. I welcome you to this also repeat groundbreaking event in the form of the broadcast agreement that the Gambia Football Federation has signed with FIFA a couple of days ago. In this, we'll see the broadcast, as mentioned by the director of our domestic league, male and female force and division, that will broadcast across the globe. As we are all aware, football in the Gambia in general and the domestic league in particular are seeing remarkable improvements over the years, especially from 2014 to date, when we first eliminated the payment of annual registration fee by clubs at all categories, first and second divisions in 2014. That has never happened. In addition to that, there are incremental support to clubs by way of preparations for the leagues and also by way of subsidizing transportation. I think this has been incremental. 2014 up to date has been increased, among other things that the current leadership of GFF is able to do for clubs in order to improve and enhance their participation in the leagues. As equally, you are aware that in the past few years, the league has been run 100% by the Gambia Football Federation without any sponsorship. I think we are among the few federations or countries where the national leagues or the domestic leagues are solely and wholly financed by the federation without any form of sponsorship. We've been trying, but yet it has eluded us. And equally, in addition to the general organization of the leagues, they also have been consistent in increasing the prize monies for the various categories of the leagues over the years. And we have also seen the interest attached to the domestic leagues with a few online media houses broadcasting the league, including our own in-house GFF media. This has also remarkably contributed positively to the growth and development of the game in the country. However, having an official broadcast partner that can in turn generate revenue for the league and clubs until today has remained our utmost priority. This is now a thing of the past. As I sit before you here today to announce that we have signed a broadcast deal with FIFA beginning the current season until the end of 2026 season to broadcast the aforementioned or the aforesaid leagues throughout this new initiative of FIFA Plus. The Global Football Governing Body last month launched the FIFA Plus project. I'm sure you are all aware of it, which is a world-class digital platform created to connect football fans across the globe more deeply with the game they love for free. It will provide access to live football matches, interactive games, news, tournament information, groundbreaking, unrivaled video content delivery, truly global storytelling around the men's and women's games, and much more. The broadcast partner for this project is called 11 Sports, as already mentioned by the director, and they have in turn contracted iAfrica TV, our own domestic television broadcast producer, iAfrica TV. I'm sure you are around. We congratulate you on this, and congratulate. Could any of the media houses could equally serve this purpose, but it can only be given to one. It's business. But the most important aspect of it, before we've seen similar production being outsourced to foreign media houses across our boundaries, but this time it's our own. That's been contracted. It's a lot of achievement, not only for Africa TV, but for us as a country, and especially the media fraternity. I think the Africa TV plus the Gambian media deserve a round of applause for this. As part of the project, they will now do broadcasting all the matches in our men and women first division leagues from the next season. The broadcast will still begin with some selected matches in this campaign and will be offered through IPTV, Internet Protocol Television Service, otherwise known as live streaming. The agreement means they have exclusive rights licensed to the competitions, but because this agreement is happening almost in the middle of the season, those clubs and online platforms that are currently streaming the league will be allowed to broadcast them until the end of the current season. However, from next season, no third party will be allowed to transmit any form of coverage, either in part or whole, via IPTV, internet, or mobile transmission until the end of the licensing period. I must interject that unless a special waiver or agreement is reached with the contracting party, because anything is possible. But however, we will formally write to all clubs to that effect. This event is happening this project is happening at no cost to GFF. 11 Sports will provide all the technical aspects of broadcast. The project is developed by FIFA to help those member associations whose leagues are in on television by broadcasting them, and at the same time look to generate revenue through merchandising and advertisement to be shared amongst all the parties, including GFF. The Gambia Football Federation will receive 20% of the revenue, and state revenue to be accrued or generated in the process. The agreement will avail us the opportunity to have our domestic league broadcast to a global audience, with the revenue generated to be plowed back into football development, especially increasing the federation's financial support to the clubs, which means the clubs will not be left out. Whatever is earned from it, certainly a good chunk of it will get back to the clubs to help them also improve. We all know that our clubs are in dire need of revenue, and I'm pleased to announce that the revenue generated for this will be shared appropriately amongst the participating clubs. The system and the mechanism to be used will be shared with clubs in due course. The project is expected to have a positive impact on our football because it will offer a global platform for our leagues to be watched by millions of viewers across the globe, expose our players to global sports markets, which can in turn lead to professional contracts. The revenue generated can also be used by the clubs to develop their own facilities, pay their players better wages, technicians, and amongst others. Another opportunity is for the players to use the broad reach of television to become celebrities that can generate them income through advertising other products and services, as already alluded to by the director. Also, it will relieve clubs the burden of recording their own matches for purposes of records and marketing of players, as the videos of matches will be accessible to them for their needs. I want to say now, we are all struggling. I'm a club owner. We're all struggling to hire a camera person or videographer to take videos of matches at some cost. But now we don't need that. You can access these as long as the broadcast done. They are available for the whole world, so you can take the clips or the bits that you need for your own marketing purposes. So you don't have that bad product. While assuring you of our determination not to relent in our drive to continue on the course of unprecedented football development in the country, I kindly indulge the continued support and cooperation of all in this endeavor. And then, I'm pleased and very proud to announce that we at the GFF are among the first federation of countries on the continent of Africa to sign this contract after meeting all the requirements and after full successful discussions and negotiations with FIFA and its broadcast partner. So I thank you for this. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor to declare launched the Gff FIFA Plus project in the Gambia, and I wish you well and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President. As a detail, I think you have enough to share with the general public, and of course, I'm sure some are watching right now with us. Before I call on the BB for the question and answer session, which BB will give you a maximum of 15 minutes. 15 minutes, I think that will be fine. I just want to remind ourselves, so far what we have registered in terms of media is concerned, or corporate is concerned. Excuse me. In 2018, just to tell you that these are deliberate action. 2018, when I came with, when Omar Toure joined us, we had our new website. We had a website before, but we created a new one. And now, I think a lot of people are taking our news from there. We also have developed the PRS, the player registration system. This is significant because now all the players are registered online. And it's easy for you media as well. If you want information about a particular player, whether the number of hearts they had, okay, the clubs that they played, this is traceable through our platform. And now we have a YouTube streaming, excuse me. We also have streaming of matches, not just local matches, but even international matches. I'm just building up that this is a deliberate move that we are advancing. It means we are moving forward. Now we are thinking of exposing our players to the international market. I think it's a great achievement. Everyone should be proud of today, and then we should all work together and then make sure that this becomes beneficial, not only clubs, but even to our country, because at the end of the day, we are all Gambians. On that note, Mr. Bibi, I would pass the baton to you for question and answer. 15 minutes, yeah? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, congratulations once again. So we return the party to members of the press for your queries, your doubts, your questions, if you need any clarification. Can we leave the gadgets here? Because the more we take them out, it interferes with life proceedings of this event. Just immediately what we finish, we can go to once. Everybody wants a question? Yes, Saturday. Thank you very much for the coordination. My question is, how is the question of professionalizing the league, how important is this?
It can only, it can only enhance it, and it's very critical and very important because that's why we are heading to professionalization of the league. We are working very hard with UEFA, and they are giving us the support. And with this project, it can only make it better because it's going to further expose, it's going to make it more accessible, and then the professional, the clubs also, depending on the number of clubs done professional, is also going to be another source of income for them. So I can say that I can assure that it's going to enhance, it's going to give it a big boost in this.
Yes, some of the farmer Mr. President, you did say that from the end of by the end of this season, starting the start of the new season, that we will have to field matches, also live stream matches. I don't need to explain this. Does this apply to those who will be filming the games for the national
Yeah, it's very clear when we say everybody is everybody. Definitely.
So it means henceforth the matches cannot be filmed by everybody else except
for the league.
Yes, the league.
Yeah, yes, for the league. But unfortunately, let me interject. I will not stop at expressing. I don't want to use this as instruction, but I don't know our doubts why we hardly see a GFF League match, at least even for a second or two, on a prime time news. We are all citizens of this country. We all been here for Alhamdulillah. Watching, I'm somebody, unless I'm out of the house, I normally don't miss the prime time news, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, either on GRTS or QT, whatever. But hardly sometimes what I don't feel comfortable with is maybe nobody owes GFF any obligation to do, but in the sports segment of, especially GRTS, where we all own, and I have all the courage to tell you this and tell everybody. When they come international news, last time international news bring in the sports news, bring in Tunisians preparing for the athletes. So what does government have to do with that? And anytime we play Olympic matches, GRTS is all over. I'm just giving an example. So now, if at all they are covered, but the audience are not shown. Maybe you have difficulty in terms of partnership marketing. We all know the concern that is there, but then we cannot also. That's one reason that we run to this, and at all costs, even it's going to cost our own national broadcaster not have access to our products. Then, unfortunately, that's how it's happened. So maybe that's why I just want to elaborate more, because when you say GRTS, it's a national broadcaster. They have to set the pace, but it's not happening, and we didn't only are we quiet over it. We've talked about this at the highest level, and series of meetings at the GRTS offices, but it didn't come. So now, if there is a chance that it will be available and it's going to produce not only at no cost to us, but at least we're anticipating some revenue that could be beneficial to not only the federation but other stakeholders, then we go for it. So then all the collateral damages will be accepted. Yes.
Well, I'm not sure about the same that. I was just asking that. I just wanted that.
Yeah.
And the second question is, how are the clubs going to benefit from this? Is 11 plus will be main federation for so many years?
Yes, I'm talking about the overall revenue that accrues. 20% will go to GFF, and it's true that GFF, the 20%, there also a drawing mechanism where clubs also can benefit from it. That's the financial benefit. But let's not lose sight of the publicity, the marketing that the clubs will accrue to clubs, and also, as I said in the last bit of my statement, that the burden of clubs also struggling, because not all the clubs have the means to hire cameramen, women, to take videos of their matches, which they will keep for their own records and also for marketing. Because now scouts around, all of you are in the sport, a particular scout will identify a player, but they want to have a video of the individual and a few matches. So this is about now every club is trying to have their own record system. But now, if this is being broadcast live, and there's nothing stopping anybody keeping the records for their own purpose. So it's going to be beneficial in addition to the anticipated revenue sharing, but also the fact that the players will be, the marketing will be enhanced, since it's not going to be limited, it's going to be global. And then the producer, the 11 plus, is of global standing, and it's going to further expose our players to scouts or those who may require them. So certainly.
Before you come out from further buttress the president's point, this work in a way that 11 sports and FIFA would be responsible for generating the revenue, you understand, through merchandising and advertising. So 20% of that revenue, it was goes to the brand owner. I mean, we are the ones who own this brand. We have licensed them to show this brand on our behalf. In return, any revenue that is generated, 20% comes to the GFF, and that is where the club also will benefit, because we all know, like the president stated in his statement, the league is 100% run by the GFF, and people do not understand, but running a league, the operational cost attached to it alone, it runs in the millions. You understand? And we have the first division male, fourth division female, second division male and female that we run, And in extension, we also have our regional leagues, and we support these regional leagues through our regional football associations. So the federation is spending millions of dollars in trying to ensure that our league is uninterrupted. I think aside from the COVID 2020 COVID period, when the entire global football calendar was interrupted, for the past since 2014, there has not been a single season where the league failed to play up to its last matches. So this is how it is going to work.
Thank you.
Welcome, VP.
I want to confirm or ask, is there any alternative as part of the effort that we want to do sports for football, particularly because of the Gambia? I make you understand that currently IFA is understood as people were accepted before. We now currently will put up contact or facilities AFJ. So what is JNF doing with regards to what we do with football in case of the Gambia? Especially people that are not in the side.
Well, Afam, you work in the media, and I think you would agree with me that the GFF owns the brand, but nowhere is it is the responsibility of the football federation to broadcast football to the people. But then we all know the constraints that we have everywhere. In fact, sports, the money in sports is through broadcasting, which right is being sold by the owners to the broadcast companies. So you mentioned about iAfrica. No, it's not as if iAfrica is the one showing this game. You understand? They are giving technical support. You understand? The president mentioned we have series of meetings. You would agree with me also that whenever the national team is playing here, the rights that have been sold to companies, they have to import equipment to use to be able to get these fees. And currently, we do not have that capacity in the country here in terms of the media to provide that. So, iAfrica have the equipment that these people need because they have it their own list and they went through everything. They know that they have ticked in all the boxes. So they are going to provide the feed and send it to 11 Sports. It is 11 Sports that is broadcasting these matches, not iAfrica. I think that has some very good point.
Yes, exactly.
Well, in the contract that we have, nobody would be allowed to broadcast the games through internet. Through the internet. That has to be very, very clear here.
So what?
Well, if that special exceptions can be made, and I think if you pay attention to the president's statement, he made mention of that. FIFA, the program, the project is meant to broadcast all the matches, like every week, all the matches in the 4th division men, all the matches in the 4th division women. However, in the event that they could not, like their local partners could not get the capacity to produce all these matches, they will tell us in advance. And then those clubs also who may be interested in broadcasting their own games can, have some form of an agreement with them where they will have to send a fee to them. So that is a possibility. So if any exception that has to be made, then everything has to be negotiated. We have sold the rights exclusively to them.
Okay. Let me take that. Okay. My name is Cyrus Gabriel24. Well before the initiative of this one, there are some online TVs that have been, live streaming the games. I don't know whether the deal has completely shut down the procedure of those ones coming in to negotiate for what they are doing or whether there is
It's okay. Yeah, maybe you arrived a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's been dealt with already. We already that's natural justice. The already this contract is coming to effect in the middle of the league, almost beyond at the middle of the league. So there's that understanding. Those will continue. Even with for the contract, they are not even covering all the matches. They are going to be selected matches that will go to, which also allow the existing big broadcast houses of individuals who are doing to continue. So it's not stopping, putting a lid over it now. It's going to go until the end of this current season.
Bibi, do you need a 5 minutes adjustment? Your time is finished. You need a 5 minutes.
Big one. Yes. Because
Because we have football. We have football. Yes, this is why it's called the Ghana Football Federation. Our domain only stops at football. Yes.
you're welcome.
I just want to understand from the federation whether they are they are trying to factor the location in politics. All the media thinking now within the country abandoning the league entirely. Because the president of our Africa has not been covering the leagues. The last time I saw them at the stadium was a long time ago. Now that you want to stop the rest of the media from covering the leagues, what are the implications? Is the league not going to be isolated entirely?
Not at all. Not at all, because we think the Africa is just producing. Let's not misunderstand production and broadcast. They're not going to broadcast it. It's 11 sport that's going to broadcast it globally. So you can go to 11 sport, any of their platforms all over the world, including Gambia, you can see it. So Africa is just to produce for them. So they're not going to broadcast it. So I think that has to be clear. Yes.
No, we will give you chance.
No, wait, Alpha. Just allow him to clarify this. Because I think, Famara, the president led a meeting that we had with ERTS to have our league on television. But because ERTS does not have capacity.
I'm talking as a journalist.
Now I understand that.
Is entirely out of this.
Yes.
I'm here.
We understand that.
Yeah, this belongs to all of us. That's why we have to for it to talk about it.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about others, but yeah, just have a stake in it.
Yeah. No, let's not misunderstand it.
Okay.
This should not also be seen as an attack on anyone.
Okay, no. That's okay.
So just a clarification. An example.
Okay, I'm taking powers from BB, but I will return it back to him. The second vice president, who is responsible for the league, he is the big man. As far as competition is concerned, he makes the decisions. As far as international competitions is also concerned, he found us in the middle of the question and answer. If he were here earlier, he would have made a statement. So, for you to know, Mr. Vice President, and so maybe we will break protocol, Mr. President, for him to, even though you've launched and we are on another stage.
Okay.
Well, when the big man enters, sometimes you break the rules, So just, Mr. Fai, if you want to say a word or two regarding this project, because you are the lead when it comes to competitions. So.
Add few words on this FIFA program. I think it's in the benefit of the media, the clubs, and football at large. Because those who are going to broadcast the football matches will not have the local expertise. And the media will be there to work with them. And they will have to benefit financially. The same as the clubs whose matches are going to be broadcast. They will have certain percentage that they will benefit. And it's good for our clubs, because our clubs now will have an international audience to showcase their players, whereby now most agents and scouts look at full football matches. They don't need to come to the Gambia. They just sit down in the convenience of their home, watch football matches, and then look at any player and scout the player. So those are the three benefits, among the three benefits that all of us can derive from. So the media, don't worry about it. All of you will benefit. And the media have to be ready. You must have the capacity, you must have the expertise. Without that, it's difficult for them to work with you. And moving on, as we move in our football to a higher level, you should know that football is not free. Anywhere you go in the world, if you want to comment a match, you have to pay. If you want to show a match, you have to pay. Those are things that happens in football, but we are not at that level yet. We are an amateur league. And moving to a professional league, the professional teams will look at it differently. What we are starting now will move on to our professional league. And for the media to able to even comment a professional match, they must have to pay. So these are things that are started now, and it's for the media to prepare for it. Thank you very much.
Wow, which means it's a challenge for the media to prepare themselves for what is coming their way. So, Bibi, I give you two more questions, and that will be it. Two more questions.
Let's also think about our own TV stations. There will be a time we will know guys. Because all these TV stations, they attack their TVs through Facebook and YouTube to make some revenue. And we all know if you put the touch 11 sports, their image, they will sue for them. So is this going to help the players? The players are outside, but inside the country, is it going to help?
Well, I don't know how can it help them outside, not inside the country.
Because we are not able to show this image on our TV station. Because we all know what copyrights. Yeah, they will just put it down. They will put it down.
Yeah, but
put it down, or you should put it down. Are you going to negotiate with them so that this TV station or local TV station also can have access to some footage?
of course, because if you look at the way football broadcasting is happening, you have some media houses that cannot show the match, but they will show a glimpse of the match, not the full, just interviews and so on. No. But that's an agreement normally the federation have with that. Let's take, for example, the English Premier League. If you look at BBC, they sometimes cannot show the match. So bits and pieces of the matches, just extracts of the matches. Huh? Of course, that's allowable. You cannot show the whole match, but you can show at least an extract of the match. But these are things that happens. That's going to happen in our football. This is something we have to prepare for it. It's going to happen, not today, not tomorrow, but it will happen. And it's for us as a media personnel to prepare for this eventuality.
And maybe even if you happen to have a domestic company that will do the production and broadcasting, for example, you say N24 happen to reach a deal with GFF to produce and so, but regardless of what, no other local broadcaster will have the privilege or the opportunity to be able to broadcast it, because it's business, so they are saying now, unlike any other sport. So there is no free money now. It's difficult. We are seeing as a matter, and we have to say the developments in the media in this country. You are doing fantastically well, despite the often very difficult conditions in terms of resources and finance. The Vice President said these are realities of modern broadcasting, and as sports broadcasting is the main source of income for every sport. These are FIFA, Gff, everybody depends. Their blood lifeline is marketing and broadcasting rights. So, and this reality, as I said, we are still a bit behind, and this is just the beginning of process. Like GFF also, we have an ambition. We also have ambition for our own production system, where we not only produce what we sell, that's what we broadcast. So if that happens again, unless you have a contract, a special waiver, you cannot do it. So, but these are the reality. Sometimes Gambia will play outside, nobody will broadcast this country because the right is not being given to you. And we cannot complain that because our domestic entities here doesn't have the capacity to do it. So I think it's a challenge, as you said. We'll have to prepare and see how we can manage it. But I'm so very soon we'll be there. The way I see things developing, maybe one or two of the media houses will soon come out with the copyright, the requisite muscles and strength to be able to show not only our domestic matches but even for the EPL and other major ones. So that they can, so instead of all of us going to the video clubs and other things, we're trying to get satellites. But it's the trend. Let's raise it for it.
Maybe you would allow me to also clarify that. I think maybe you didn't understand what the special factor is saying. You are not stopped from your normal routine coverage of the league. Even after the match, you can do your post-match interviews. However, what is not allowed is to broadcast these games live from next season. I don't know whether I applied this.
One last question.
Yes.
So what he's asking, normally when you want to use some of this material, so YouTube can't tell us for on Facebook, we don't have to copyright or right between you and those people. So let's say 11 sports broadcast, let's say the other one you want done. You are only used, you want to use part of it, and it's going to be cut down because you don't have a copyright review.
But you need position to do that.
That's what he's asking.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what is happening everywhere. You get permission from the right holder. Once you don't have permission, if you do that, you'll be reported and it will go down. That's the norm anywhere.
I think now the broadcasting right belongs to them exclusively. Now all of you as entities now have the opportunity now to go to the open negotiation with them to see how far you can make arrangements with them to either broadcast or to do broadcast or to take. I think these are things really is now. We know the concern. We appreciate the concern. I understand the question. I understand the concern. But the way we are now, really, we also I think we are looking at the bigger benefits. Those are the collateral damages. So there must be every development goes with challenges. Those are the challenges, but we still can find ways around.
No, let's ask him as different. You want to ask a question? Yeah, how do you clarify this? Is it that and you don't know? So let's come to an activity, but you know, be like and someone with their dreams there that have already contract with media houses that produce their matches. So how do things go about that?
Well,
Gambian Talents Promotion.
Jaliba Manding.
Corona muna muto nyaledi. Nkaljalo nada ganyene badie. Animpana mwa million jama. Wale pengo ke kagola bai. Wangoru kan. Nze jaliba vele ninjalo nada. Ninjalo nada ganyene senenda.
Jali nene suso Mandinka.
Fankanta manjawia. Se fankanta yesi nyolu kanta. Ninna fa fomu fankanto leti. Alungata.
Yes ndaw. Wala.
Ngi doomu Adama vaccine nañ. Corona lu am la. Fagaro gen fajo. Ajalen ñu dem vaccine. Moy li ñuy
Lena Jola.
Ubaj muja COVID-19 Epengo we engole nun esontene Bare petanga ye
Sora Jali Mandinka.
un vaccin on yinta. Soyons sérieux avec ces vaccins. Si on se donne la main, facile d'en gagner courant.
Mandinka.
Alingata me vaccino me batuka Allah alingata wala bentangala na alingata me vaccino me batuka Allah alingata wala bentangala
Tata dinding Mandinka.
Pengota Pengota nyinengangari Pengota walendandi kama kuikan
Pula
ime yeto yemo leki kingarija nagor kuma debo ime joni undandai
Jakos Manjago.
Konora ninja Legi yang kabu kobula Kutopu yaka jeji bingua Yaka purpu kabu buru
Aliu Badara Wolof.
kuni anga warugal jili jarul tobi khar vaccine amna jogal jeli ko wow al sunure
Sambu Susu Mandinka.
Ani vaccinota ni mobe matantul mankana alinganji jambe ata ule ben tagala
Pambu Wolof.
vaccination bi ñew na ci suñu rew ñun jëli ko war nañu ku ko jëlul do am visa ngir dugg ci benn rew ndax dañoo bañ corona tasaro
Wolof.
kay len ñu jëli ko vaccine bi ñu doon xaar kay len ñu jëli ko mooy li ñuy aar kay len ñu jëli ko vaccine bi ñu doon xaar kay len ñu jëli ko mooy li ñuy aar
Papa Wolof.
moo ñuy aare waaw ko jaxaate doy jaaxal
Singate Sarahule.
Usuna buto COVID pengo haga kinye Usuna pengo ona pengo Je jangaro la wai seren karnide
Barhama Wolof.
vaccine bi du gaañe te vaccine bi du lor kenn am na ñu ne dafay wàññi nit ñi waaye du dëgg de garab bi du lor
Ami Sose Wolof.
askan wi génn leen ñu pengu jee fagarlu moo gan fajoo yaay mooy li ñuy aar ci jaagi pengu wajaa Jeliko, yandi,
If you want to receive monies from UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world, Supersonics Money Transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonics Money Transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.